Oh, should I go left? Should I go right? Maybe it'll eat Bob. Maybe it won't. By then, eaten, we're dead. Hi, I'm Georgia, and I'm a psychotherapist. Yes, licensed psychotherapist, but probably not yours, probably. And this is my channel, and today we're going to be discussing what is anxiety. So, anxiety is that feeling that you get of worry or dread or fear or cycling thoughts that you can't get rid of. But I think that anxiety often kind of gets demonized as this horrible, bad thing, when really it's your body's part of your brain that's there to keep us alive. It's like that house alarm that's there to tell us when there's danger or something that we should be worried about. And remember, our brain hasn't changed in about 150,000 years, like very, very little. So we're dealing with caveman brain inside of a modern society, and our society has changed so much, and our brain has changed so little that this alarm is kind of set to dangers that most of them don't exist anymore. So what exactly is happening? And for most of the time we have anxiety and we have it for a moment or a second and then it goes away and we kind of reset to feeling calm and relaxed. And that's fine, but sometimes anxiety gets stuck and we end up feeling anxious even after the danger isn't there. And that's when you might want to be able to seek help to be able to reduce your levels of anxiety. If you find yourself worrying all the time, or you always feel anxious, you always feel like you're on yellow alert, that's when you want to make sure that you're checking what are you doing to lower your levels of anxiety. So let's think about what the purpose of anxiety is. So a long time ago, we lived in these tribal villages, and the world was a dangerous place. And it was a great idea, very adaptive, for us to be on high alert. And those that leaned towards having anxiety more often really were better prepared for danger. So think about it. You're going to sleep and you know that there's a saber-toothed tiger on the prowl, and you're kind of always looking out for that sound that may be a saber-toothed tiger. But Bob is out there sleeping and relaxing, and he's dead asleep. Well, if the saber-toothed tiger attacks, let's just say it, those that are more anxious, more aware, worrying a little bit more about this, will be faster to act. And those that are not get eaten, and we get to run and escape. So in that way, anxiety is really protective to us. Poor Bob, but we made it. And so our ancestors were adaptive in that way because we're still here as defenseless creatures. Like really, we don't have like claws. We don't have dangerous teeth. We actually smile to show that we're not dangerous. We don't have anything that we can do much danger with. So we're not great one-on-one fighters, but we're really smart, adaptive, think ahead. But sometimes that can cause us worry and too much worry. And really, like the dangers of the world, if your anxiety is within the levels of danger of the world, that's fine. It's when anxiety is higher than the danger of the world that we need to work to bring it back down to level. When your anxiety cup starts to get filled and increase its levels, when it hits a threshold, it just sends out epinephrine, we call it adrenaline, into the system, which gets us prepared to fight, attack, or anger, or flight, avoid, run, and sometimes freeze. Stay still or faint. Very rare, but some of us do that also. And these are all dependent upon you, and we all do something different, which is good because some predators will attack one thing versus another. And sometimes it's good to attack, sometimes it's good to avoid, sometimes it's good just to freeze. So don't also feel bad about which is your method of dealing with anxiety. We might need to work on it because if you're angry all the time in the household, that's not great for the home, but it is just kind of our natural way of this is how I protect myself when I sense this type of danger. So what happens when you get that shot of adrenaline that fills and floods your system? Well, all the blood leaves your hands and feet, and we get vasoconstriction, which can make our fingers tingly or cold, and it goes to the main muscle groups. So to our brain, so we can think faster and see more quickly and process things, sometimes too rapidly. To our heart beats faster, our breathing becomes that short, shallow breath that is prepared for a fight. And then to our stomach, our body stops digestion, which sometimes can make us have to have the runs or a nervous bladder, and goes to our, main muscle groups so that we can run faster and be able to get away, which is great if you're actually dealing with a saber-toothed tiger. Not great if you're preparing yourself for a test or having to memorize something or read or be able to have a discussion. And so these are all wonderfully great adaptive things. This is the closest that we get to a superpower. Without actually having a superpower. We are often you hear those stories of, mom lifts up car. It's that shot of adrenaline and those excess sugars that get burned to be able to lift things. So we become stronger and we think faster, too fast sometimes. It's wonderful for us in actual danger. But there's another piece to anxiety that if you're not actually dealing with a saber-toothed tiger or being attacked, it can feel really upsetting of why is my mind racing? Why can't I settle down? And one of the reasons for that is that when we go through an anxiety response and we get that shot of adrenaline, so we're going to be talking about anxiety on a 10-point scale. So 1 is really calm and zen and relaxed. 5, we're starting to worry thoughts. 6, the worry thoughts are starting to take over. 8, we are pre a panic attack, which we'll talk about what that is in a later video. And when we hit around a 8, what happens is that our limbic system, the part that's dealing with anxiety, actually chemically numbs the cognitive, the part we're so proud of, our thinking part of the brain gets chemically numbed, so we're turned off. So when you're talking to someone and you see those whites of their eyes, you know that nothing's going in. Nothing's going in. They're no longer processing. And you'll say to me well, how can that be adaptive, Georgia? I need to think. In danger, wouldn't it be a smart idea to think? But let's go back to that scenario of the village and the saber-toothed tiger and we're asleep and, Bob's deep sleeping and we're light sleeping because we're so worried. Well, when the saber-toothed tiger attacks, it's a good idea that we just act, that we don't stop and overthink it and go, should I go left? Should I go right? Maybe it'll eat Bob. Maybe it won't. By then, eaten, we're dead. So we act first and think about it later. And in most cases, this was really adaptive and beneficial. And so that's when we hear about someone that says, you know what, I just grabbed hold of that branch, or I just defended myself without thought. It actually is without thought. A lot of our anxiety mechanisms are actually along our spinal cord and on our cerebellum. These are areas of the brain that are really primal and react. If you touch a hot stove, it does not, your hand releases before it goes to your brain. It's actually just a spinal reaction to keep us safe. That's how adaptive our bodies are. It's amazing. And if you understand it, hopefully you won't be that hard on yourself when it doesn't react the way that you hope it does. So it's normal for all of us that when we're really angry or really anxious, we're not doing our best thinking. I would hate to have on YouTube all of my videos of me having a panic attack or really being angry. We're not at our best because we're not really thinking at that moment. So knowing that and also getting control of that, which we're going to do together, is really, really helpful. And if you're dealing with anxiety and you're tired, well, yeah, that's that shot of adrenaline where you're running like a racehorse when you're just sitting in place because you've been filling your anxiety cup. So that is a little bit about what is anxiety. And if you're dealing with anxiety or have a loved one with anxiety or just want to know more, we're going to be dealing with this together, how to treat it, what you can do, what you shouldn't do, how to use support together in the series of videos that we're going to be going through. So hopefully you'll join me. And if you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe, and we'll continue on with the journey.